All right, get ready because today we are diving into one of the biggest, most intense rivalries in sports history.
Yeah, yeah,
Celtics versus Lakers.
that's right.
We're talking decades of battles, Hall of Famers, and honestly, enough championship rings between these two teams to make a king jealous.
Okay.
But we're not just going to be looking back, rehashing the past. We've got a recent trade, a blockbuster trade that sent Luka Doncic to the Lakers.
Mhm.
And that's what we're going to be looking at today,
Yeah.
because this has the potential to totally rewrite the future of this rivalry.
Really, I mean, this rivalry, it goes way beyond just wins and losses.
Yeah.
We're talking about two franchises that have basically shaped the NBA, like from how the game is played to the cultural impact.
Yeah, I mean, you can't talk about basketball without talking about the Celtics and the Lakers. So to
Right.
get the full picture, we're going to go deep, deep into the archives today. We're looking at some vintage NBA discussions. These are from Reddit, and they're comparing legends like Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain.
Wow.
And we've also got a YouTube interview with former Laker AC Green, and he experienced that whole Showtime era firsthand.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
And then to bring us up to speed, on the modern NBA, we're going to look at a Sports Business Journal article. It's on the league's popularity. And then a piece from the New England Sports Network on the potential for a rivalry revival thanks to this trade. Oh, and we even went down the Wikipedia rabbit hole, looking back at the 2008 finals.
Oh, man, 2008, that was a good one.
I know, right?
So what's the mission today? I mean, are we just recapping what happened, or is there something more?
Well, I think it's more than just what happened. It's why it matters. It's like,
Yeah.
what were the things, what were the key ingredients that made this rivalry so legendary?
Yeah.
How did different eras and players shape, how the rivalry evolved?
Oh, got
And
it.
then how might Luka Doncic coming to LA, how's that going to change the game for both teams?
Right.
All right, so let's just start with the foundation. These two teams have met a record 12 times in the NBA Finals. 12. No other rivalry even comes close. I mean, what is it about these two franchises that just makes them clash so consistently?
At the highest level,
Yeah.
I think it's a few things. You've got the historical success.
Right.
Then you've got geographic rivalry, East Coast versus West Coast.
Yeah.
And they also just have a knack for attracting these larger-than-life personalities. If you look at the players who played for the Celtics, wearing those Celtics green and then the Lakers purple, it's like a who's who of basketball.
It's true,
Ah.
but it wasn't always Lakers and Celtics at the top, right?
Yeah.
This rivalry really started heating up in the 60s, with titans like Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain going head-to-head.
Oh, yeah.
And we found some pretty heated debates about these two on Reddit.
Reddit.
Yeah. Some fans are saying that Russell's 11 championship rings, like that's all the proof you need, of his greatness.
11's a lot.
It is. But then others are pointing to Wilt's stats,
Yeah, his stats were insane.
like averaging over 50 points a game for a whole season.
Oh, my goodness.
But wasn't Wilt considered like the more individually talented player?
Yeah, but how does that line up with Russell winning so many more championships? That's the real question, right?
Right.
Like, what actually makes a player great?
Yeah, you got to ask, like, what really defines greatness in basketball? Is it just being dominant as a player? Or is it how much your team wins?
Right.
I think a good argument for Russell is that he had so much impact beyond like what showed up in the box score. He wasn't just an amazing athlete, he was a leader. Someone who really understood teamwork and strategy.
There's this incredible story. It's from that Reddit thread about Russell's grandfather.
Yeah.
So he was watching the Celtics players, and they were all showering together, after a loss to the 76ers.
Oh, wow.
And what's really interesting is that the players were all different races, and they were all just, showering together in harmony. And the grandfather was apparently moved to tears
Really?
by seeing that, this display of unity.
And I think that says a lot about the social impact that Celtics team had and Russell's role in it all.
Yeah, absolutely. Russell Celtics, I mean, they were pioneers, right? They were challenging racial barriers during a really, really turbulent time in American history.
Yeah, for sure.
And their success, on the court, and then their unity off the court, it sent a really, really powerful message.
All right, so from the Celtics dynasty in the 60s, we fast forward to the Lakers, the Showtime era in the 80s.
All right, here we go.
We've got Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar leading the fast break. They won 5 championships that decade. And they even set that record-breaking 33-game winning streak back in 71-72.
Yeah, that was something else.
It's easy to get, caught up in the flash and excitement of Showtime, but how did that style of play, how did that actually change the NBA? Was it all flash or was there substance behind it?
Oh, there was definitely substance. The Lakers' fast-paced offense, it injected this new level of excitement into the league. They weren't just winning, they were winning with style,
Yeah.
with flair.
Yeah, they were fun to watch.
Exactly. And, it wasn't all about magic either. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was one of the best centers of all time. His skyhook, you couldn't stop it.
So we actually got some insights into that era from AC Green.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he played for the Lakers during that time. Well, he doesn't really talk about the rivalry in his YouTube interview. You can just feel, sense the intensity of playing for the Lakers during
Oh,
Showtime.
yeah. He talks about the pressure to win, right? The expectation of excellence that just came with being a Laker.
Yeah.
That win-at-all-costs mentality. That was a huge part of the rivalry with the Celtics.
Yeah, for sure.
They just pushed each other to be better, to try new things, to innovate, to find new ways to win.
Absolutely. So it feels like every era of this rivalry, it kind of had a distinct flavor. You had the 60s with all the strategic brilliance and then the high-flying Showtime of the 80s. But what about the 2000s? That's when Kobe really took center stage for the Lakers.
Oh, you're right. We can't talk about this rivalry without mentioning Kobe. I mean, he was like the embodiment of that Laker swagger,
Yeah.
that relentless pursuit of victory. I mean, the early 2000s saw that Lakers three-peat with Shaq, but it was Kobe who carried the torch for the rivalry after Shaq left.
But even with all of Kobe's, amazing plays and everything, that era of the rivalry just didn't, I don't know, it didn't have the same intensity as the 60s or 80s at it. I mean, the Celtics, they had their own problems before they got their big three, with Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, and Ray Allen.
It's interesting you say that because the NBA's popularity had actually dipped a bit in the late 90s and early 2000s. Like Michael Jordan retiring left this big void. And it took a while for new stars to, kind of merge and capture the public's imagination.
And then, bam, 2008 happens. The Celtics' big three versus Kobe's Lakers in the finals. I mean, that was a clash of styles for the ages.
Oh, for sure. The Celtics, all about team defense, toughness, and that veteran, savvy. And then you've got Kobe, this force of nature, able to just take over a game all by himself. And that series, it went down to the wire, 6 games. Back and forth the whole time.
Talking about going down to the wire, how about Ray Allen's game-tying three-pointer in Game 4? I mean, TD Garden was going crazy.
Yeah, that was a huge
That shot sent the game into overtime, and the Celtics ended up tying the series at 2-2.
Yeah, that shot was iconic. It showed Allen's ability to perform under pressure, his clutch shooting, and it showed the Celtics just never giving up. But, the Lakers, they were tough. Yeah, and Kobe was determined to bring that championship back to L.A.
And then Game 6 in Boston, it was a blowout. The Celtics just demolished the Lakers, winning by 39 points. They secured their 17th championship. My dad, he's a diehard Celtics fan, and he was going absolutely bonkers that night.
Oh, I bet. That Celtics team was a force, They just embodied that classic Celtics spirit, tough defense, unselfish play, and totally committed to winning as a team. It was a huge win for Boston. But, as we all know, the Lakers, they got their revenge a couple years later.
Right. They beat the Celtics in 2010 for their 16th championship.
Yeah.
Which brings us to, I think, the big turning point, the Luka Doncic trade. It's almost like the basketball gods just hit the reset button on this whole rivalry.
Yeah, this trade. This has huge implications. It's like we're going back in time, back to those classic debates about individual talent versus team success. Like we saw with Russell and Wilt.
So now we've got Luka, this offensive, maestro, joining LeBron and Anthony Davis on the Lakers. I mean, that's just an insane combination of talent and experience. And then on the other side, you've got Tatum and Brown, both in their prime, playing like they have something to prove.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting dynamic to watch. Can Luka's talent bring the Lakers another championship? Or will the Celtics system and Tatum's rise, will that be the winning formula?
And, that Sports Business Journal article said that LeBron and the Lakers, they were already getting huge viewership numbers. So now add Luka to that mix. I mean, we're talking must-see TV.
No doubt. This move has the potential to, not just bring back the Celtics-Lakers rivalry, but to, take the NBA's global popularity to a whole new level.
And that New England Sports Network piece said that this could be even bigger than what we've seen, in recent years. With Luka in LA, the Celtics-Lakers rivalry is back. And it feels like, I don't know, anything could happen. Okay, so we've talked about, all the historical battles, the legendary players, that crazy 2008 finals. And now this, Luka-sized earthquake shaking up the rivalry. But what does it all mean for the future?
Yeah. I think we could sit here all day and speculate about like who's going to score 50 points in a big game. But I think this rivalry, it goes beyond just individual players.
Right.
It's about legacy, about two franchises that are always, pushing each other to be better. And it's about the fans, right? Generations of fans who have inherited this passion, this need to see their team win.
Yeah, I mean, those fan bases are not messing around. They're not happy with just making the playoffs. They want championships. They want to be able to talk trash for the next decade.
Exactly. And I think that leads to the biggest question about this new era. Will it be all about individual stars, or will one team finally win more championships? Right now, the Celtics have the edge with 18 titles to the Lakers' 17.
But with Luka joining LeBron and AD, that could change things pretty quickly, don't you think?
For sure.
I mean, we kind of saw this in the 60s. Russell's Celtics, they were all about team basketball, and they just dominated. Wilt was putting up crazy numbers, but he only won 2 championships.
Right, right. And then you have the 80s. Magic and Bird were both incredibly talented, as individual players, but the Lakers, they won 5 championships compared to the Celtics 3. So, they kind of define that era.
Okay, so what's going to define this era?
Right.
Is it going to be Luka's step-back threes or Tatum hitting those clutch shots? Will it be about, who wins scoring titles and MVP awards?
Or will one of these teams finally break that tie and, cement their place as the best NBA dynasty? I think that's a question for you, the listener.
Yeah.
As you watch these two teams battle it out, over the next few years, ask yourself, what kind of legacy will this generation of Celtics and Lakers players create?
Will they be remembered for individual moments? Or for getting their team's name, on that championship trophy one more time? It's a story that's still being written, and we're going to be here for every chapter.
Every steal, every dunk, every, heart-stopping moment. The Celtics-Lakers rivalry is back, and it's more exciting than ever.
This has been The Depth Dive. We'll see you next time for another fascinating journey into the world of information.